Welcome to Last Licks, episode 4. This is a really quiet week in sports, but we actually have some pretty good topics to discuss because some news did come out today in regards to the NBA, and the MLB is starting up, and there's a lot of different things to talk about in the NBA with the season kind of coming to not a close, but to the second half, and there's things to discuss like the MVP award. So let's get into everything. First, the big news with the NBA, and it kind of went under the radar. I saw some people talking about it on Twitter today. Was they're looking to potentially change the defensive rules because the thought is right now the NBA is way too offense heavy, and they're looking to potentially change the rules to make defense more of an impact, and they're trying to slow down the scoring. What do you guys think? Like, what is there any specific rules you would bring back? Any specific rules you would change? Do you think they should do anything? What do you guys think?
I don't really look to the rules. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Steph Curry. I think in 2016, when he really came around, I think that's what changed the game. And I think it's not due to a lack of defense now where it's too offensively sided. I think offense just runs differently now. I think people are putting up more threes per game. People are just looking to shoot at a higher caliber percentage. They're not really pushing in to drive the hoop. I think the game's just changing, and I think there's not really much you can do to combat that.
I agree, and I think people or athletes in general are getting much better at their sports, and they're adapting way faster to whichever league they're in, especially in the NBA, than they would be a couple of years ago. If that athletes are starting to train younger, get better, they're faster, they're more athletic. But and as everyone loves offense and high scoring games, some of the fouls are ridiculous and calls, and when you're a fan and you're watching, you're like, really, you're gonna call that one, but not this one. You let that slide, not let that slide. It gets really inconsistent with the reffing, where you need to figure out a way for defense to keep games competitive, but also have that high scoring and high offensive efficiency.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
there was. I think.
yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
My whole thing is this. I think it's actually a problem, and I think the NBA should make some changes because to me, you look at there's certain statistics that are available out there. You see, now I'm going to read some. The current average offensive efficiency rating is 115.4, which is an all-time record. So this is the best offenses ever. Like, just for an example, the 73 win Warriors were 113.5. Kobe and Shaq cracked 110 once. So I don't know if I could say
They were
that these
also
guys are
playing.
so much better. I would just say that players now are taking more shots. It's a faster paced
Yeah.
game. The statistics back that up, that it's faster paced. They're taking what, double or triple the amount of threes that they used to take, and the
How
percentages
do
have
you
remained the
stop that?
same. Well,
How do you stop that?
and I think because a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe they should get rid of the defensive 3 seconds rule, and I like that personally because I think the idea of the center having to leave the paint is kind of stupid. But at the same time, if you're trying to prevent teams from taking threes, that's only going to make
It's
them
not
take
gonna do
more
that.
threes. So
Exactly.
and again, teams that would have a
I, th-
stretch five, that would be huge for them. So that really encourages 3 point shooting. So
I think it's more of the player attitude change of wanting to play defense. You can tell that there are some guys in the league that are like, you got by me. I'll let someone else handle it.
yeah,
Or they don't take pride in playing defense. And that should be an athlete or an NBA Players Association problem to discuss where you should try and not just wait around the 3 point line, not crash the boards. Like you see that more in college basketball because kids are trying to get to the NBA. There's more hustle and heart on defense in college, I think. And it just shows that just comes down to players and their whole
I
mentality
agree
for that.
to I agree to a certain extent with that. I think there definitely are some guys who aren't playing defense to the level that they could and the level that they should be held to, especially being in the NBA. However, if you look at this just from a numbers and mathematical standpoint, if you're shooting 50% just from the field in general, and 70% of those are layups, dunks, anything inside the 3-point line. That's how, I don't know if it was to that extent, but that's how the game used to kind of be run. You're going to score less points than if you're now shooting 70% of those shots are now threes. Like, it's just figuring out how to kind of stop people from shooting threes. And I don't think you can really do that.
You just have to play. You have to have a higher aggressive outside 3-point defense. That comes down to coaching and players wanting to take a step and not being embarrassed. I think not ending up on SportsCenter's top 10 list, cracking an ankle. Like, you're making $50 million. It doesn't really matter what it does. It shouldn't, at least. But
bring
like
back hand checking. Bring back
That's
the
the
hand
rule.
check.
I was just gonna say that because to me, if you want to
nice.
slow down the amount of 3-pointers that people can get off, because obviously back in the day they only really took wide open threes. You didn't see guys taking
Exactly, yeah.
threes.
The
contested shots came from the mid range, and they don't.
Yep.
Nobody takes mid range jump shots anymore.
If they do bring back hand checking, though, they have. Did they get away with like the KD like swoop? Like, if a defender went through a steal and you ripped through and went up for a shot, like, technically you hit his hand as a follow through.
That's
That was
considered
a
a
foul.
shooting foul.
So if they bring back hand checking, there might be more of that BS foul. I think you would have to. I don't know. You'd have to do something about that. I think more players would take advantage of that, but
I don't think the problem's really around the rim right now. It's just the quantity of shots people are getting up now from range, and I think hand checking is really the only thing you can look to maybe slow that down.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that you can really re-implement or add to the game to take away from that.
Yeah, because it really comes down to the evolution of the game. You have innovative offenses like Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni's Suns, where they're trying to score in 7 seconds or less. Then you have the Warriors, but Warriors was more about a personnel type of thing. But you start having teams. A good example, a very innovative team was the 2013 Knicks. It was the year Mike Woodson had taken over, and their thing, and this is really they were the first team to do this. They broke the NBA record for threes made in a season at that time. Now they would be a horrible 3-point shooting team in the league now in terms of threes made. But at that time, what they did was they moved Carmelo Anthony to the power forward, and he was their starting power forward that whole season, where he was always a small forward. So it became more about stretching the floor, getting 4 shooters out there at once. Now everybody does that. There's no more, the Dennis Rodmans of the world. Like, those guys don't exist anymore. Those guys are now centers or out of the league.
The last one's Draymond Green, and he's almost out of the league.
Yeah.
Well, Draymond's the exception to the rule because Draymond is a phenomenal playmaker and he's a phenomenal defender. When he was good, when he was in his prime, he was a good shooter. He was not like a great shooter, but he was okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was averaging 23 at Michigan State before he came in, so he did what he needed to do. But you're not going to see a guy like that anymore, especially coming from college, or they're not even coming from college anymore. It's the G League or overseas. I don't think there's one projected lottery pick coming from the NCAA this year. Those guys are going to want to come in, get the ball, and start firing, and then you're not going to see a scrappy, low player come right in and make an impact anymore. It's just not going to happen.
Well, Paul, you bring up stretching the floor, and I think that kind of just adds to the fact that there's just a lot of intangibles that you can't really control to mitigate what's going on with the offense.
Yeah.
Now, instead of typically what you've seen in years past of 3 out of 5 guys on the floor being able to shoot the 3, now most teams have 5 guys out there that can pull a 3 if they're given the opportunity. Now. I'd say more than half the league probably has that. So, I mean, I think it's out of the control of the NBA now. I think Steph Curry was the guy that innovated the game to the point where you're seeing this happen now. Like, I mean, Jake's saying that people are training earlier, they're training differently, and I think a lot of the kids growing up, when you're playing, you're trying to mimic your favorite players. I think everyone started shooting threes because of Steph Curry, and you're going to start seeing that generation come up. I think it's going to get even more out of hand.
Should have started with Jimmer, but that's a personal opinion.
I think
Jimmer flopped.
Jimmer was a flop. But I think
that's his
a lot of it comes down to when it comes down to playoff basketball, things change a bit because those teams that just take threes, and they shoot a lot of threes, right?
It's a gamble.
Beautiful example was the late 2000s Rockets. They were the team, they looked at the analytics, they said, the most efficient way for us to shoot is layups or three-pointers. Mid-range jump shots are not efficient. They looked at all the stats, and they just went by their stats, and what did it get them? The teams that win championships, let's take a look. You have, in recent years, the 2019 Raptors. Kawhi Leonard is a mid-range shot creator. 2020 Lakers. LeBron, not a great shooter. Anthony Davis, horrible shooter. Not 2021 Bucks. Yes, you had Giannis with Brook Lopez being a stretch five, Chris Middleton being able to shoot. But at the end of the day, your best player wasn't this guy who's just pulling up and taking all these threes. When things slow down in the playoffs, you had to take the high percentage shots. Look at the Heat, their success in the playoffs recently. They've been making the finals, making the Eastern Conference Finals because Jimmy Butler takes high efficiency mid-range jump shots when it comes to the playoffs. Yep. Yes, you need to have other shooters out there to stretch the floor. It's a basic principle of the game. But the playoffs, you're always going to see lower scoring games. You're not going to see a playoff game where a team's scoring 135 points. Defense matters a lot in the playoffs because teams do step it up in the playoffs when it comes to defense. A lot of guys, again, we did say they're not really taking defense that seriously in the regular season. They step it up in the playoffs. Every possession matters.
I don't think that this is a playoff discussion. I think playoff basketball and regular season basketball are realistically two different things. Yes, everything you said applies, but this is more of a major problem in the regular season. Because playoff basketball, everyone's strictly playing to win, and playoff basketball is 10 times better than regular season basketball.
Mm-hmm. No, people play at a higher caliber, and
yeah,
I think. But all in all, I think this is a culmination of both sides of the spectrum here. I mean, if you're really trying to have this push of making the game a little bit more advantageous towards the defense, you have to take into account regular season as well as playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah. I agree with that. So, I mean, here's the thing, though. Personally, I think that they do need to do something because you can't have guys going out there. Right now, there's 50 players averaging 20 points a game. That's crazy. 2013, there was 9 guys that did that. So to me, I think they have to do something, and I think hand checking is a great start because hand checking just makes it more difficult to create your own shot, and it'll encourage teams to be more team basketball oriented, more cuts, setting off ball screens and stuff, and that's always more entertaining to watch. People don't want to see, a lot of people weren't a fan of the 2018 Rockets with James Harden ISOing, putting you into pick and roll every time. People want to see cuts, passes, and they want to see all these things. So I think that would be a good start. I think it would make a big difference. I think it would also slow down the pace of play a little bit because guys aren't going to be able to move as quick on offense. I think it would be maybe they could try it out in the G League next year. See how it goes, how it impacts.
Not a bad idea.
That. And then maybe come 2026, they can consider making some changes. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
That's not a bad idea, implementing it into the G League first. I think baseball did that rule before in the minor leagues. So I like that. That's not a bad idea.
I'm always with it. I think just kind of use your farm system, the non-pros, as kind of your test dummies. I think there's no harm, no foul there.
And especially now
they're training to get into the league. They're not in the league. The games don't really matter as much as they do in the NBA. Right. So I think that's a good place to start.
And it'll get the guys better too.
Especially now that a lot of G Leaguers are potential picks too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they have that caliber. It's not like they're way far down at the bottom anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that for that topic. But another piece of news today is we pretty much know who is going to make the uh, 2024 U.S. Olympic team. It's pretty interesting because the report came out that they want Drew Holiday, and they have every roster spot figured out. I'll read the roster right now, and this is according to Shams. They want Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, and Jason Tatum. They have one open roster spot left.
If
All
this
I'm gonna
team,
say is yikes.
if they know their roles and they can expect players to take one step back, this could be the redeem for the redeem team. It has potential if they go out there and they take themselves collectively and they go, look, let's go out and try to blow every team out by 40. Obviously, that's not going to happen now with overseas players being that much better than they were and taking the pros bin. But this team has potential. I like it. They're old, but if they can put themselves together, I'm a big fan of this. With stars playing in USA basketball.
I don't know if I agree with that. USA men's basketball has taken a hit year after year after year. They're on a significant downward spiral over the past decade, I'd say. I mean, we used to come out and just blow every team out of the water, and I don't even think these guys would constitute an all-star team in the NBA right now. I mean, it's close, but it's not like looking at this team, they're going to blow everybody out of the water. Drew Holiday raises my eyebrows a little bit, confused as to why they want a guy like him out there. I know the defense is there, but in terms of what you should be able to do in the Olympics, I mean, anybody should be able to put up 20 points a night, basically.
Yeah, but when you have 4 players on the in the field with Drew Holiday that are all 25 plus guys, there only one guy can score at a time. So do you really need 5?
No.
Drew Holiday can score. I have an issue with Booker.
I have an issue with LeBron.
I think Kyrie should be in instead of Booker. I think he fits that role better. Booker's way too inconsistent. He's gonna want the guy, and I think Kyrie could take, if he needed to, could take a step back and be like, hey, I don't like Booker in that team.
In my personal opinion, besides Drew Holiday, but I see him as a optimal role player, I actually don't think you could get a better team than this for the U.S. Okay, you're like, take LeBron
I agree with
out.
that too.
Who are you putting in instead of LeBron?
Let me look up some USA basketball.
Maybe Kawhi? But is Kawhi going to play?
No.
Kawhi is always hurt.
No.
He's not going to play.
No.
There's nobody that you could put that's better than these guys.
I would rather
This is the
have
best
LeBron
possible
in
team
there.
you could put out there.
Especially since LeBron was the guy that started. He goes, yeah, I'm putting together the super team. Like, let's go out and figure it out. He's been on the teams before.
He's won 2 Olympic golds.
So
I think 3. Was he on 2016?
LeBron?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if
wasn't.
he played 2016, but I know he played 2008 and 2012.
You need LeBron is still averaging like 27, 6, and 5. Like, I don't
Exactly.
And then he could also facilitate the ball. He's probably one of the best passers on this team. Maybe the best passer on the team.
He is the best passer
maybe
on the team.
Maybe I'll rephrase my original statement here. It's not so much that you could put together a better team. I just think compared to years past, I think this is one of the weakest teams.
Well, because it's the same guys
yeah.
for the most part, but those guys when they were in their prime.
Those other teams before, besides the 2016 and the 2020 team, which no one...
the 2020 team was not.
2020 team was garbage.
Yeah, but it was also COVID and people got hurt. Besides the 2016 team, it was Kobe, Chris Paul, Melo, Wade, LeBron, Bosh, prime Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at that team like now they're legends. If you look at this team 15 years from now, LeBron, Curry, Durant, Joel Embiid if he ever stays healthy again. Bam, Jason Tatum is up on the rise right now. Halliburton's dishing the rock, scoring at a high end level.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad by any stretch. It's just
it's also weird
comparison. I think this team would lose to every U.S. team that we've thrown out since, I don't know, maybe 90s.
No, 04.
No.
The team that won
Or do we have
bronze.
an 04? Who do we have in 04?
They
Well,
beat
the 04 team was the year that a lot of the stars didn't come out.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
it was the year that, it was the
just-
reason why they all got together in 08 because they
that was the it was
I
like
disagree with you though,
yeah, I disagree with you too.
because I think this team, if you really look at it,
I just
like-
wish Kyrie was in there, but
well, they have
it doesn't-
another
Who's your
open
starting
roster
lineup?
spot. I don't know if they
What's
would
your starting lineup here? It's Curry.
Curry.
LeBron.
Well,
Starting
let's think
LeBron.
shooting guard. So
Does
Curry.
LeBron make you?
LeBron's gonna start.
Halliburton?
I'm starting Halliburton.
I'm starting
over-
Curry at my point guard.
I am too.
I don't think I'm
starting
putting Curry and
at shooting
Halliburton
guard.
next to each other. I need defense.
Halliburton moves the ball though. I mean,
Actually, I would start
Halliburton's ball
Holiday.
dominant though.
I would
Curry's
start
ball-
I would start Holiday.
You put Booker.
I would.
No,
I like
I would
the
start
Holiday
Holiday.
start idea. I like Curry
I would
as my
start
point guard. Holiday as my shooting guard. I would want
LeBron, KD,
Kevin
and
Durant,
Joel.
LeBron, and Embiid. That's
Yeah,
to me. You have
or
good defense, good team defense. You know,
Or
maybe you
depending
could put
on
Anthony
who-
Davis in the starting lineup and Kevin Durant coming off the bench.
I would choose Bam over AD. I think he's a bigger
as
defender.
what,
Depending on
as
the
a 4.
yeah, depending on the matchup. This is very contingent on the matchup. Like a lot of European teams have been playing too big, too inside. Not really. I think Bam would be a better presence than AD.
Yeah, but then
on
your
defense.
your spacing is garbage.
Yes,
Yeah, but
I know.
we tend to space the floor better than other teams as well.
Yeah, they do.
It's a give and take.
Yeah, so that's a matchup dependent thing. I don't mind. Obviously, it's KD. I would start KD.
I
But
think KD is a good start. I think the lineup.
LeBron could also
that I
play
see-
the 4 too. It doesn't matter.
I would put
He's
LeBron on my
6'-
4.
He's 6'9".
Yeah, I'm putting
Huge.
LeBron on my 4,
Huge.
and I'm abusing our athleticism because we're more athletic than any of the other teams, and we have Curry in our lineup and Kevin Durant. So that's what two of the top 5. Two of the top 5 greatest shooters that ever lived.
If you had to name your top 3 to like potentially fill that open roster spot, who do you guys got? Do you have anything on the top of your head that like player sticks out?
I think Jalen Brunson,
Qualifies
but they
exactly
have.
for the A team.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: they only have Curry and Halliburton, so they have 2 true point guards there. So I don't know if they need Jalen Brunson, because it's not like Jalen Brunson's going to go in there and play shooting guard. At least Curry, you can play him off ball. So I don't know if I would do Brunson.
Do you even look at Trae Young?
No. Way too
Oh.
ball dominant. Traffic cone on
Shea?
defense.
No, Shea's from Canada, right?
Shea's from
No,
Canada. Team
Trae-
Canada's
Trae
nice.
Team Canada's nice. Yeah, there's a
They're
lot
nice.
of good foreign teams now. Too.
They're nice depending on how good Barrett is.
They were decent at the World Cup last year. I think they got silver.
Yeah.
So they're good. I mean, we'll see. Last year,
Paul George. You look at Paul George.
Paul George
Wait,
is a Swiss Army knife.
isn't Banchero on this team?
Jimmy Butler.
No,
Jimmy
Paulo
Butler. I wouldn't put Banchero. I'm not like a huge
Wasn't he-
Banchero
wasn't he
fan.
on this-
I'm not taking a risk on a young guy like that.
Didn't they say though? Because didn't he like disown Italy or something?
He did.
How many,
That
how
was
many
the play
playoff
last
games
year.
has he played? How many playoff
Oh,
games has he played?
Yeah. Give me
No, I
give me
Yeah,
I
Jimmy
wouldn't have
Butler
somebody
as,
in the
as,
playoffs.
as that guy because Jimmy can play 2 through 4.
Jimmy's
Yeah.
a good. Jimmy's
Paul
a good
George
pick.
would be
He's a good
great.
goal.
If Kawhi was willing to, Kawhi would be.
Towns is Towns USA.
Cat could play. No, I think Cat plays
no.
for the Dominican Republic. I think that's what
Yeah,
he declared himself.
Cat. If there's one guy on the planet, I want Iguodala.
Yeah.
Jimmy Iguodala.
I think I would go if I could pick somebody. I would pick Kawhi Leonard. I think I would take Kawhi Leonard on this
Do you look
team.
at Paul
over
George is
Anthony
too
Edwards.
injury prone?
No.
Well, I don't think that's a
I
concern. I mean,
would
that's
be
how he broke his
debating
leg.
between-
Was it the
I'd be
Olympics?
debating between Paul George, Kawhi, and who's the other guy I just said? Jimmy. And Jimmy.
I
I
would get
still
one
think-
of those guys, one of those 3.
I
whoever
still
would be
think
willing.
Kyrie could fit over them.
Kyrie could, but
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is-
I like
Kyrie butts
I like-
heads with a lot of people.
I like the Jimmy pick.
Yeah.
I think Kyrie would kind of just bomb the team
You don't need
chemistry
him.
of everyone in there. Like, I mean, the locker room would have to be tense between. I don't know how things left off with him and Durant, but I can't imagine they're great. Him and Tatum.
Right.
Oh,
he has
yeah,
the
I-
best
I-
relationship he has
I
there is
forgot.
LeBron.
I forgot it. I forgot about
Yeah.
the Celtics.
No,
All right.
yeah, I
I'm
don't
with you
think that
on.
would be. I don't think that would be good in the locker room at
I'm
all.
with you. I'm with you with Jimmy Butler though. I like the defense. What Paul said that he could stretch the floor and he could play
Yep.
2 through 4.
Yep.
You need
That's not bad.
versatile. Like if you're gonna have an extra guy on your team, it's got to be someone that can play multiple positions.
He's
Like
he's a high
I'm,
scoring,
You need a plug and play guy.
he's a high scoring, high energy version of Drew Holiday. I like the
Yeah,
pick.
and he shows up. He shows up. He knows how to perform
and
under
I'm
pressure.
not I'm not a fan of taking a guy like again. Obviously, I would love for Jalen Brunson to play. Right. I'm just not a fan of at this point when you already have Curry and Halliburton, and then you have a guy like LeBron who could play point guard a little bit. Drew Holiday could play point guard. You have 4
That's
guys
just too
there that
much.
could actually, and Devin Booker could play point guard too if you needed him to. You already have 5 guys that could play that position. You don't need a guy who only plays point guard. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Brunson, even though I think talent wise he would be probably my next pick up. But you don't need that. Like his play style wouldn't really fit in because he's isolation mid range scoring for the most part. You don't need that on this team. This team's gonna need to be fluid ball movement, off ball shooting, cuts. If someone's isoing, it's gonna be Kevin Durant, who's a better iso player than like anybody ever.
Anybody there, yeah.
So it's
I don't know. We'll see how they stack up. Competition's getting a lot better too, which I think adds to the comments I've had, where I say I don't think this team's gonna do as well as I think you guys.
Do you think
they're
they
gonna
take
do,
gold?
But I think it's gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be a typical like we show up and we just walk through everyone.
Yeah. The thing with
Like,
a lot
I-
of these European teams is they've been
I was gonna say.
those teams
They
have been
look good.
playing together for a long time. Because here's the thing, it's not like the U.S. team where it's like, oh well, it's kind of a chore for us to go out and play for the team. You take
Yeah.
like any team, like the Spanish team, for example. They have guys that have played there for 3 Olympics in a row. They play in FIBA every year. They're doing everything that they could do every summer. They're
And
working
that's
out
the
with those
core.
guys. And that's their
That's
core,
the
and
core.
they're really used to playing with each other. So that's dangerous. I think this team is different than previous, like the last couple of years of USA teams, where I think they're talented and experienced enough. It's really the veteran experience. They haven't had veteran experience. You have LeBron,
Yeah.
Steph Curry. I would maybe consider even a Draymond Green on this team.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I would consider him there. He was great for them in 2016. I know
Yeah,
it's
he
obviously
Yeah,
But-
if a fight breaks out, who the hell's gonna go
He's
out
gonna
there?
fight. He's gonna fight Durant first.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
do
true.
it.
I'm not putting him and KD on the same team. You're right about that.
Can't do
Yeah,
it.
But him and LeBron,
him and he would be. Oh my god, my king.
it's gonna be interesting
Well-
to watch. Basketball's always fun.
I'm excited for that.
Well, speaking of top talent in European teams, not USA, some of the top guys in the MVP race for MLB, for NBA are European or outsiders, Canadians also.
Indeed, they are.
The race is tough this year.
Yeah,
MVP race is hot right now.
A lot of options.
I think this is
There
one
are.
of the tightest races we've had because, like, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna give our top 5 each. I think there's about 8 guys that I've seen people have in their top 5, and a lot of those guys I've seen people put them in any order. What I mean? So it's one of the tightest races to call this year. We all have different picks, and I guess we'll go
I'm a
through
little
it.
cocky with
So,
it.
I
I'm a
think
little cocky
first
with
up-
it, but I think it's close 2 through wherever. But I don't think there's a question for 1.
All right. Well, let's see. Jake,
That's my first take.
Jake,
Jake
you're
us
up
out
first.
All right, I'll kick us off, I guess. So
with your 5.
when I hear most valuable player, MVP, the word that sticks out is valuable. Ugh. You might not be the best. You might not be the best on your team, but if you were to take this guy off this team, how good are they? How good is the guy compared to how good that team would be without him? Determines how valuable you are as a person, in my opinion. So to kick off my top 5, I got Jalen Brunson at 5. Yes, it's a hot take, kind of sleeper. He's averaging 28, 4, and 7 on 47% shooting. The Knicks are 4th in the East, and he rejuvenated the Knicks. Yes, if you take him off the Knicks, they still have OG, still have Randall. DiVincenzo came out of nowhere, Now he's tearing it up. But before, when Brunson was playing, he was the guy. He was the team. I don't think the Knicks are fourth in the East. I think they're still in a playoff spot, maybe a playing game. But
I
I
don't even
think,
think that.
yeah, exactly. So I think that he's valuable to the team. He has the numbers. So he's in my 5 slot. Obviously, he's not better than some of these guys that we're talking about, but it's not most outstanding, most offensive player. It's most valuable player.
I hear the argument of you remove him from the team. The Knicks are nowhere right now. However, let you finish your list, but having him over some of the guys that you left out, but touch on that when you go through it.
All right. Well, fourth, I have Jokic. And this is strictly because I don't even think he likes basketball, and he's averaging a double-double.
Almost a triple double.
Almost a triple. He's averaging 26, 12, and 9, 58% from the field and 35 from 3. And the Nuggets are third in the West. Jokic is putting up unbelievable numbers again, looking to three-peat, which is crazy. But he deserves well to be on this list. He is the heart and soul of the Nuggets. And the Nuggets do have some players. They do have really good role players. The system fits, but Jokic makes everyone on that team better around him, and everyone shows up when they need to be. So that's why I have Jokic at 4 over Brunson.
I'm with you there.
All right. Third, I have Doncic and Luka, and that's only because his numbers are ridiculous. And yes, they are only 8 in the West, but he's averaging 35, 9, and 10. Almost a triple-double. Maybe he should be a spot higher. They do have Kyrie. That does help, but he is just playing unbelievable right now. So he's third. Any rebuttals for there?
No,
I see Nick
I'm right there
staring
with
at
you.
me.
I'm right there with you. It's just I want to let you get your whole list up there.
Yeah,
All right.
get your list out.
Get your
All
list up there.
And then second, I got Donovan Mitchell. Strictly because I think the Cavs are garbage, besides Mobley and Jared Allen, maybe being the most inconsistent players. And they're second in the East. Granted, they're 12.5 games behind the Celtics. But pretty much Mitchell having a bounce back year, 28, 5, and 6 on 47%. Single-handedly almost carrying the Cavs. Because you don't know who's showing up. Very inconsistent. I think if you take him off the team, they're definitely not as good. Definitely not as good.
You could make that argument not as good for every player on this list. You take an MVP caliber, like a top 10 caliber player off a team, they're gonna get worse.
And that's why I have Shea at 1. And that's why I have him at 1. That's why I have him ridiculously over Doncic, and even Luka should have probably been 2. But that's why I have him over him. He's averaging 35, 6, and 7, and the Thunder are tied for first in the West.
I agree that Shea
I think he
shines
is
the most.
I think he's the
on
most
his team.
valuable. I think he's the most valuable basketball player to their team, which is the award.
That is the award.
That's
That is
the
true.
award. That's why I think he's if you took him off compared to every single other person in the league, the Thunder are definitely not tied for first in the West. I think barely scraping playoffs. And if that doesn't scream most valuable to you, I don't know what does. All right.
Well, I can show you what screams most
Well,
valuable to me.
That's my top 5.
Here's my big disagreement with you.
That's fine.
My big disagreement is Donovan Mitchell at 2.
I'm right there with you.
I think if you want to put Donovan Mitchell at 5, 6,
maybe
I can understand.
He probably shouldn't be. Oh, looking back now, I probably would put Luka at 2.
Okay,
And
but still.
move Mitchell and Jokic to like 3, 4.
Okay,
But I would have him over Brunson.
I don't.
you have him over Jokic still.
Wait, hold on. We gotta. This is important. Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. To me, you look at the statistics. Donovan Mitchell, yes, he's averaging what? 1 more point,
28.
not half a point more.
Mhm.
2 more rebound and a half.
Mhm.
Brunson's averaging half an assist more.
Mhm.
Brunson
They're shooting the
shoots more
same.
efficiently from 3.
Yeah, better for 3.
Yes, the Cavs have a better record,
They
but
also have a better team.
they have a better team. I mean, you look at their defense right now. Their
Yeah,
defense
that
is
is
ridiculously
true.
good. If
Oh.
the Knicks stayed
Donovan
healthy,
Mitchell.
hold on. If the Knicks stayed healthy, I think everybody knows right now the Knicks should be pretty comfortably as a second seed. Right now, they would be in the Cavs spot. So, to me, and then also, I understand you shouldn't take previous seasons into account for this current season
I
and
don't do it at all.
postseasons. But the bottom line is, Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell were matched up back-to-back years in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell did not step up, and Jalen Brunson crucified him.
Not a playoff race, not a playoff award.
I understand that,
I understand it's not a playoff award,
but it puts it over for me.
I don't think
should mean nothing to you. This is a regular season award. I think you had valid takes up until that. I think that's a problem in voting.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell shines out from his team enough to be at the 2 slot in the MVP race. I think he's got one of the most well-rounded teams out of all those guys you listed, and on that, I can't put him in my top 5, let alone my top 2.
To me, I think the Cavs would be in the play-in, like a top play-in team. I think they would be probably. I think they would be probably 9th in the East.
Maybe this is just me being ignorant and not watching the Cavs because I don't really care about the Cavs personally. And I'm just going off stats and the Cavs. But I do agree that Luka should be over him, and then probably Jokic just because of the stat. But I wouldn't be opposed to having Mitchell over him still.
All right.
I still wouldn't. I
don't see it. I think Brunson has had a much bigger impact and is much more valuable to the Knicks than Donovan Mitchell is to the Cavs.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, but I mean, all right. Well, Nick, we'll get to you now.
Alrighty. In my 5 slot, I have somebody that Jake didn't even mention.
Good.
I have Giannis at my 5. I mean, the man is putting up 30, 11, and 6, shooting 61%, which is 9th in the league.
It's like Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, we're starting to just get sort of comfortable seeing these types of numbers being put up, and I think it removes the wow factor of them. Those are still unbelievable stats that he's putting up. The Bucks they're 3rd in the East, or almost tied for 2nd in the East. I think just all around, Giannis has been the guy on the Bucks, arguably. I mean, yes, he got Dame brought in this year. Dame's putting up 25 next to him, but he plays a completely different role than Giannis does. Giannis is really responsible for the inside scoring, the inside rebounding, everything. Dame's responsible for everything on the outside. And Giannis is also picking up the slack from all the defense that Dame isn't playing as well.
Yep.
I think his defense also speaks a lot to this award. This isn't just an offensive award. So I think that's why I have Giannis slipping in my 5 spot. I don't see him landing with the award by any stretch this year, but I think he deserves to definitely be in the conversation. That moves me on to my 4. It is the other man who just puts up ungodly numbers day in and day out with Nikola Jokic, the man who doesn't really want to even play basketball at all. I mean, I don't even really need to say much here. He's basically averaging a triple-double. He'll probably end up at the end of the year averaging a triple-double, shooting 58% from the field. The Nuggets look incredible. He does this every year. I think that's kind of why people hold him to a higher standard in the MVP race. But, I mean, it's hard to not talk about him in the MVP race. That's my take. On to, you guys got anything? Rebuttals here and there? No.
You can't rebuttal anything, any list that Jokic is on.
All right. Next one, I'm definitely going to get some pushback here on this one, but I see Tatum in my 3 spot, and anyone 1 through 3, depending on how the rest of the year looks, any of these guys I think can land with it. I think my number 1 is a runaway, but I could still see my 2 and 3 slipping in. The reason I say Tatum is when you are the best player on the best team, Jake, it comes back to most valuable. Tatum is leading the Celtics in points, rebounds, assists, and he is just shy of leading them in steals as well. He's averaging one under Jaylen Brown's 1.1. I think that speaks numbers to what you're doing for the team that you're playing for. You are the guy on the team, and I think the Celtics are better than the Timberwolves by how many games now?
Decent bit.
Yeah, decent bit. They got 5 more wins than the Timberwolves. So I mean, this is undoubtedly the best team in the league right now, and best guy, best team, MVP. That's what it comes down to. Any pushback on that?
No, I don't have any pushback on it.
I'm slipping through.
I mean, I'll get to mine, but I have him in my top 5 as well.
No,
Alright.
you can't have him over Jokic if that's your reason.
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can.
Being the best
Jokic's stats blow him out of the water. To be honest,
It does.
Having him over,
He does.
Jokic,
having him over him
doesn't.
just because he's the best player on the best team doesn't make you the most valuable player in the league. I don't think.
There's
Because
not.
you could have such a great team, and you could just just because you're the best, your team is still the best team. I don't know.
You're doing more. You're winning games. That's what it's all about. Being
Yes.
a valuable asset to your team.
Hold on, with the best supporting cast in the league by far.
Yeah,
Yes. However, you are still leading the best supporting cast in all the categories: points, rebounds, assists, almost steals.
Look,
that's
I'm
Jokic
fine with
on
him
the
in
Nuggets.
your top
I
5.
mean, I don't. Without that supporting cast,
I don't know.
I'm fine
That's
with him
my
in your top
take.
5, but over Jokic, I don't see it.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I understand it just in terms of stats, he doesn't beat him out.
Right.
However, I also take into consideration in this award where your team is in all of this. I think, like I keep saying, being the guy on the team holds a lot of weight in the MVP race, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess I
That's
see
just
that.
my take.
I see that for reasoning over Giannis,
Mhm.
and I just don't see it for. I don't think the stats justify being over Jokic at that point.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it's very close between the two of them. I could see it going either way, really, but by a hair, just because of where the Celtics stand right now, that's where I got them. Moving on to my 2, I got Mr. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is having a phenomenal year. What a guy, young guy coming in the league, really lighting it up. I'm excited to watch him play for years to come. I don't think he quite has the edge. I know I'm going to sound like I'm going right back on what I just said. I know the Thunder are looking great. They're tied for first seed in the West. He does stand out on his team as well. He's leading in points, he's leading in assists, leading in steals. But this transitions into why I say my number 1 is Mr. Luka Doncic, just because of the adversity that he has faced and what he has kept his team in this playoff race throughout everything. Luka has played 50 games this year with his sidekick, so to say. Mr. Kyrie Irving has only played 36 games. There's been 14 games so far this year that Luka's played without Kyrie, and he is somehow keeping the Mavericks afloat. He's averaging 34, 8, 9, 1. He's leading the team in every single stat category, basically. I don't see how he's leading the league in scoring. I mean, sure, he shoots a little bit less efficiently from the field at 49%. 49% is still nothing to be ashamed of. He's 3rd in the league for assists over Jokic. And then being a point guard with 8.8 rebounds. I mean, I know the guy's 6'7", but still, just where you are on the floor, 8.8 rebounds for a point guard is unbelievable. I think his ability to just keep the Mavericks afloat this late into the season with Kyrie facing injuries. I mean, basically the entire Mavericks have just been in and out throughout the whole season with injuries. And he's the one guy that's always been there, consistently winning them games to the best of his ability. So that's my rationale for him being at my 1.
To me, I think, and okay, if we took team record out of the picture, this wouldn't be a debate. Luka would be running away with it. It's not like there's no debate at all, right? We just take the.
Yes.
You can't be an 8 seed and win MVP. That's just
He might be the 8 seed. However, where do they rank in the NBA in total right now? They are at the they're kind of down there. Like
they're not that good.
10th, 12th, yeah.
And to me, being the MVP means you're carrying your team to. I think you need to be at least a top 5 seed, because if he's dragging them to the 5th seed, then I'm like, okay, we can really talk about it. But the 8th seed,
now hear me out though.
You know,
I'm just
hear me
glad.
out though. Say Kyrie stays healthy, and he doesn't miss those 14 games, right? Say they win 10 more games than they would have in that stretch. So say, I don't know what their exact record was there, but say you just add 10 games. That puts them at the 2 seed in the NBA. Completely.
Okay, but
to what? And they won every game?
No, if in those 14 games, I don't know what their record was, but just assuming they lost everything. Or assume they went 7-7.
Yeah,
assume they went 7-7. Assume they won 7-7.
And assume they won maybe
they
2
lose
more
5
games.
left. 2 more? You want to put
Yeah.
it at 2? I'd give him 5 with Kyrie in there.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
because
If you put him at,
they've
if you
been
put him
hot.
at 5, they're a
Does
top
Luka
5
have-
team in the league.
Luka's points per game is up because he dropped 71 one game. Obviously,
No,
that's
that-
huge.
That doesn't do as much as you think it does.
Yeah, it helps.
But also, if Kyrie's healthy, those 14 games, does he? I mean, granted,
His
he probably
averages might go down.
30. The averages might go. You can't judge based off of ifs.
Yeah,
or
you can't.
buts or
It's
whens.
what it is.
And I'm just
Mhm.
glad though that you said that you were gonna go back on your Tatum for the reason why you have Luka over Shea. I'm glad you acknowledged that, so I won't talk about that.
Yes.
I was about to destroy you.
Yes. No, it's a give and take. I think for some guys, you need to look at that. For other guys, it's more of what they are doing.
And
But
that's why
the
there's
MVP is always a
problem in
very
MVP voting.
it's a very ambiguous award. It's what you look at, what you value. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, but that's my list. That's where I stand on
They
it.
need to change it to an outstanding player award. Just make it easier. The word valuable is too
Word
ambiguous.
valuable does
It doesn't make any
go
sense.
right.
LeBron should have 10 MVPs because he was the most valuable player in the league for 10 years on every team he was on.
Well, you have,
Yep.
voter
So-
fatigue is a thing, and I think that's a reason why.
That's why Jokic didn't win last year.
Well, Jokic didn't win last year. You also look at Giannis being so low on everyone's list. I mean, his statistics are insane.
Mhm.
I mean, Giannis statistically is better than Shea.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also, I mean, we just touched on Jokic not winning last year. I think it's a hesitancy to also match historic records of who got MVP.
that's how I felt last
So-
year.
Three-peating with an MVP is extremely rare.
The only
It's
guy who
so-
did that last two was Larry Bird, I think.
Mhm.
So
Didn't
that's-
Jordan? Oh no, Jordan didn't do that.
Jordan never three-peated. LeBron
Yeah.
didn't either. They gave that.
It's
that was the,
so dumb
Derrick
that
Rose
you're
participation trophy.
that. It's so dumb that they look at outside. It's an in-season award. It's based off one season. There should be no bias or anything about that. You could be ambiguous within the season. That's fine.
I also
Well, yeah.
personally disagree that this should only be a regular season award. I
And not-
think the postseason should be brought into consideration. 'Cause
I agree with that.
I also
because-
think you shouldn't be winning MVP if you're not in the playoffs.
Well, that rare.
Well,
when was the
that
last
might
time
not be
that
Luka.
happened? Wait.
They lose the play-in game, they're out.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Wait. When was
On the
when
other
was
side of the spectrum, I mean, when I predicted my finals bracket, I had the Mavericks beating the Thunder. I had the Mavericks going to 7 against the Clippers, and then I said that game could be a genuine toss-up.
yeah, I agreed with that too.
Wait,
If
but
Luka
when
drags
did-
his team to the finals, I think it's no doubt it's Luka.
Wait, but when was the last time someone didn't make the playoffs and won MVP?
Never.
I couldn't even.
I
tell
don't
you.
think that that's ever happened. To be
Yeah,
honest,
so why isn't this
Well,
postseason? included?
No. I think that it should be an award that's voted on during the regular season. I don't think. My personal opinion is the votes should be casted the day the 82nd game is played, and then base
Okay.
it off of that. I don't think what they did in the postseason should have an
Yeah,
impact
the
on the
the
award.
votes.
But I think a guy's reputation from previous postseasons could have an impact. Like, if you had to, let's say Embiid was playing, this year and he wasn't getting injured. Am I really gonna give Embiid the MVP award when I know
Okay, I
he's
kind of like the way.
if he
I
ha-
kind of like the way
if
looking at that.
if he has the best season this year, then yeah, he gets the MVP. No matter if he loses in the first round or gets swept in the first round of the playoffs
But
this
it's
year,
fake
you have to give it
stats.
to him. It's not. It's not. Then everyone has fake stats, and that's a bullshit
No,
argument.
Jokic doesn't have
BS
fake
argument.
stats. Luka doesn't
Jokic
have
doesn't
fake
have
stats.
fake
These guys
stats.
have won in the playoffs.
No, if
Giannis
no,
doesn't.
you don't. It's a regular season award. You can't count playoffs. It's a different.
It impacts
different
their
play of
reputation for
basketball.
me.
Reputation
It
doesn't
does
matter.
for me as well.
It's a regular season award. It's a
But the
regular.
whole argument you keep coming back to more than all of us is it's the most valuable player, right? It's the team.
Yeah, for the
you-
regular season, it's a regular season award.
Can you
Right, it's
not
the most-
argue that that holds more weight come playoff time?
Then you have to change all adjustments of what you have to think. Then you would have to vote at the end of the playoffs.
Well,
I'm
You
fully
would have
for
to you would have to throw away the whole regular
we have the
season.
Finals MVP for a reason.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you would have to throw the whole regular season stats out the window. Because
Yeah.
now you're not playing the Jazz or the Pelicans.
Hey,
You're
the Pelicans
playing-
are nice.
They are nice actually. The Hornets. You're not playing the Hornets 3 times a year. Now it's the best against the best. So you have to get rid of all those stats now turn into fluff stats.
I kind of
You-
like it. I'm not even gonna lie.
That
Everything
would-
that
if-
you're
if you-
saying makes me like this more.
He's building an argument for it.
If
You're
yeah,
building
so-
my
yeah,
argument.
No,
It's
that's
the best
fine.
versus the best.
That's fine. Then if you
The
want to have an
best
MVP,
should come out, and
yeah, that's
That's
fine.
where it's-
I'll agree with you. But you would have to get rid of every single regular season stat, and everyone starts from 0-0. You would have to
No.
think that way. Yes, you can't put playoff stats and regular season stats together in an MVP. It doesn't work.
I think it could. All I'm
Doesn't
saying
work.
is, I think it just affects a player's reputation for me, because if I look at a guy like
That's a
Embiid,
bias that you.
where he
the bias that
got
you
a
have to
pity
fix.
MVP award last season because nobody
How?
wanted to give it to Jokic because they were like, oh, well, we gave it to Jokic
Okay.
twice, we don't
Well,
want to give it him
that's-
a third time in a row, so they gave it to Embiid. And they're like, oh, well, he's been doing pretty good, but he keeps shitting his pants in the playoffs. So
It's
I'm
not a
gonna,
playoff award.
but it's his reputation. It tells me
Reputation doesn't
it doesn't
matter.
translate to winning. It's not real
It's-
stats.
no,
Granted, granted, I agree
like
with
the
you.
confidence.
Jokic should have got it, but
Yes.
the only stats that is based off MVP, which I disagree that it should be mostly stats, but it has been, is regular season stats. That's it. That's your only judgment for MVP. Your only single judgment for the award. No outside, no previous, no playoffs, no nothing. Right now, it's just regular season. Granted, are voters bringing in outside buys? Yeah, I think they should be off voting ballots. You should have to clear your head. It doesn't make any sense. It actually makes 0 sense to put in reputation. That is such load of BS. Doesn't make any sense. It's
I
not
don't
based
know,
off
man.
that. It's not based off that. It's based off in-season stats. That's the only thing, which I also think is stupid. But if you're going to go with that, you can't bring outside information. If you want playoff stats, fine. Then make it just playoff stats. Don't bring in regular season stats. You can't
There
have
need-
your
there's gotta be a
cake and
better-
eat it too. You can,
This is always the conversation that comes around every time it's award season. There needs to be a better
just change the award. Make it
qualifying
most
factor.
make it most outstanding
Let's
player.
continue
That's
the
it.
debate. Let me get through my awards, okay? Because I have to get
Yeah.
through mine, and then we'll continue this. So, all right, at 5, I have Tatum. So I think that him being the best player on the best team, he definitely needs to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his stats are not anywhere close to the other guys. I mean, it's a different realm.
Mhm.
Tatum has very, very good stats. He should probably make the All-NBA second team. I don't think he should make the first team.
Mhm.
He's, very, very good. He has a phenomenal supporting cast, though. That has to matter. To me, when you look at the MVP race, if you took Tatum off the Celtics right now, right? Where are the Celtics sitting in the East? Probably fourth or fifth.
I would say
Yeah.
fifth, yeah.
You know, they're in that because they have a phenomenal team. You have Jalen Brown, All Star, Porzingis, All Star caliber player, Derek White, you know, the Michael Jordan of role players, Drew Holiday, All NBA defense level guard who has been an All Star recently.
Yeah.
They have a really, really good team. So to me, I don't think I would put him higher than 5, but I think he needs to be in that combo because, again, he is the best player on the best team by a long shot. So I put Tatum at number 5. At 4, I have Giannis because Giannis' stats are otherworldly. And I understand, you know, we had this debate about, oh, should we let anything besides this season really come into play? For me, I'm looking at the expectations for the Bucks were a lot higher. They were supposed to be neck and neck with the Celtics. They're a whole notch below the Celtics. They're seen as a team in the playoffs that, you know, a lot of guys are like, oh, we would prefer to face the Bucks because we think they're not going to do that well. So to me, their expectations have been not that great. They're third in the East. They should have easily been second, very close to the Celtics. They should have been within a game or two of them, but they just haven't. And that's not all Giannis' fault. Giannis has had incredible stats. So that's why I have him at 4. But I don't have him higher because I think his stats warrant something higher. But I think 4 is good for him considering the team success. Then at 3, I have Shea. So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, tied for first in the West, 31, 6-6, insane efficiency. He's the best clear-cut player on the team. I think he's 3, and it's a shame that there's 2 guys that I have on this list that I think are ahead of him, because in other years he would have been the runaway MVP, and I can understand people picking him for MVP because I think the top 3 that I have, I think is interchangeable. I really do. I think it's that tight, but this is just what I stuck with because personally, I just feel as though I want to see Shea do it more, and I just think his stats, like 31, 6-6, is incredible, and his efficiency is incredible. I just think the guys ahead of him do more. And Exhibit A is my number 2, Luka, who is 34, 9-8. So it's everything Shea has, but better. Obviously, Shea's team is much better. Luka's team success has not been that great, which is the reason why he isn't number 1 for me. Luka would be runaway MVP if this was just statistics, but I'm taking team success into account, and ultimately the Mavericks are the 8 seed as of the time of this recording. So I don't have him as 1, but statistically, I mean, he's been having an incredible year. I just don't know if his numbers are truly contributing to them winning games right now. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have the best supporting cast, and Kyrie's been hurt. They'd be winning a lot more games with him healthy. But I think him at number 2 is not to be an insult because his stats are incredible. But to me, my real definition of MVP is a blend between the statistics and team success. And the guy that does that for me at number 1 is Jokic. 26 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. He's basically averaging a triple-double. He might get up to a triple-double by the end of the season. His efficiency is off the charts. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's shooting, 35% from 3 as a center. Amazing. But he's shooting 58% from the field, too. And his shots are mostly jump shots. He's not, Shaq, who's taking all of his shots at the rim. He's taking a lot of jump shots, tough jump shots. He's their entire offense. And here's the thing about the Nuggets. They're third in the West. They're only 2 games out of first. They're third in the West. He does not have an all-star teammate, Jokic. He has a good supporting cast, but he does not have an all-star teammate. Jamal Murray is not an all-star. Very good playoff performer, but he's not an all-star. Aaron Gordon is not an all-star. Michael Porter Jr., not an all-star. They're all very good role players, and he has a very good cast. But if Jokic was out of the picture, they would not be in play-in contention, in my opinion. I think he's their entire offense. He is their system. So when I look at most valuable player, I look at that. They're winning games. They're third in the West. And it's very difficult this year in the West. There's some very good teams. But they're third in the West. Statistically, basically averaging a triple-double as a center. I think he's by far the most skilled big man to ever play the game. So to me, I think I'm giving Jokic his third MVP. I think he truly earned it. He, silenced a lot of doubters winning the championship last year. It shows that his production leads to championships and playoff success, which again, I know it's a regular season award. I'm throwing that out the window. I'm just adding that as an extra point. I think Jokic, to me, when you look at a blend of statistics, team success, all that, and value that they bring to the team, I think Jokic would get it this year. Again, I think the top three, it's very, very tight. I can understand having those other guys, but to me, Jokic was my pick.
But let me just ask you this, like, hypothetically, what if you gave the award to Jokic, right?
Mm.
And he just said he doesn't want it because he doesn't want to be known for playing basketball.
It makes the fans love him even more.
I think the thing with Jokic and the whole I don't like basketball, I think it's a bit of a character that he plays.
I think that's genuinely what he believes down to.
I don't think he's like that, like to that
I
point.
think he's serious.
I think he's dead serious.
Because
Because
he
I think he
care
wants to
about
go
that.
ride his horse.
I don't think he cares about being a star. I don't think he
No,
cares about the celebrity aspect. I think when it comes to actual basketball, I'm sorry, you can't be as skilled as he is and say, I don't care about basketball, I'm just that good, I go out there. You can't be that skilled of a shooter, that skilled of a passer, and not care about basketball so much and come back improved year after year and put in the work that he did. He has to enjoy it. So to me, it's like being a celebrity.
Stop giving him MVPs. Let the man ride his horses.
Yeah, I still think that's one of the funniest quotes of all time. Is like, no parade, I go home.
No. What do you mean,
I
Frank?
got the race horses, and then literally he's wasted. At the parade, he goes, man, I love this shit. He's a man. I think he's like opening it up a little bit, but
he is. You're cracking. But I mean, I don't have too much feedback on the list. You worked with the same guys I did, just a different order. I could totally see Jokic getting it.
He's the betting favorite right now. I'm pretty sure he's
my 1 and a 2.
If Jokic actually ends up averaging a triple double, you can't not give it to him.
That's what it is. We're kind of getting just,
and that's because of Westbrook.
No, but here's the thing: Westbrook's triple double, 2000 MVP Westbrook led to wins because he had a horrible team and he was just carrying them. I think he carried them to the 4th seed. So that was that. But it showed, Westbrook is not like Jokic, where Jokic is putting up these numbers and they're leading to championships. And Jokic doesn't have the greatest supporting cast. He really doesn't. When you really look at it.
No, yeah, you brought up a very good point, bringing out all of his supporting cast.
They're good players. They're very good players.
That supporting cast does rival the Celtics. Supporting cast.
I don't think so because I don't think it does at all.
Besides the fact that Jaylen Brown was also an all-star for Tatum, I think that if you met, I think the Nuggets are the best matchup for the Celtics, and I think the Nuggets.
I think the Clippers are still
for a team from a matchup perspective. The Nuggets are a tough team, but when you really go
starting five, yes.
Starting 5 versus starting 5, roster. You take Jokic out of the picture. I think the Celtics have pretty much at every position, maybe except point guard. You can put Jamal Murray ahead of Drew Holiday and Derek White. I would say you put him up because he's a champion and he performs well in the playoffs. His regular season stats aren't great. He's I think 20 points and 6 assists.
Oh, I'll talk about if you even if you keep Jokic and Tatum in. Oh, if you're taking them out, then yeah, Jaylen Brown will probably takes over that 4v4. Yes, I understand.
And
Porzingis,
and Drew Holiday and Derek White. It's the best starting 5 in the league by far. And it's not. Tatum has a big deal. Tatum's the best player there, but it's so deadly because all 5 guys are very, very good. Plus, we have Horford coming off the bench.
Got Pritchard coming off the bench.
Pritchard got a solid team there. Really,
came off like I was disagreeing with you more than I would have liked. I was kind of trying to agree with the Jokic MVP.
Yeah.
So. And I think it's a solid list. I use the same set of guys. It's just a different order.
Yeah. Well,
I'll go on record though. They got to change the title. Add the O. Get rid of
I kind of agree. There's got to be some not even change the title, but there's got to be better boundaries set on.
Well, I like
There
the
should be.
65
I'm
game
pretty
rule.
sure. What's the what sport has it where it's like a checkbox where it has like different categories and like you rate them out of 10, and then those votes.
I'm
Does any
genuinely
sport
not
do that?
sure.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Where it's like a check. Maybe I just made that up in my head. It sounded pretty good though.
That would work.
But if you
That would work.
if you had metrics
But that's
and you
putting
just
it too
wrote
much down to science, and it's like you're coming down to a
a
scientific
no,
criteria for MVP.
what it
I don't
does
like
is it
that.
gets rid of outside bias. Is what it does. You could even add like your BS reputation standard.
This is always going to be there.
That
Yeah,
will
but-
always be.
yeah, but
there's
if you-
always
yeah,
an
but if
outside
you-
factor.
yeah, but if you-
healthy,
if you put categories and it's marked, like I guess it has to limit it somehow.
I don't know, man.
That's
If
why I
Embiid
just
was
think you
healthy
should-
this year, and he's putting up the numbers that he was putting up. I just don't see how you can give him MVP. Say the Sixers are third seed in the East.
Great, he put up these numbers, but everybody knows. Let's say they're third seed in the East, and they're matched up with the Pacers.
What are
Am
the
I
what are the
confident that they're
Sixers?
beating the Pacers? No.
What are the Sixers right now?
Fifth. I think they might be
because
sixth.
Embiid's been out for what now, like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, like realistically now, I wouldn't give that to him. I don't think that that's that big of a jump, personally, for valuableness of a team, of a player.
Yeah,
Like,
Sixers
that's
are
why I
sitting
wouldn't give. That's why I wouldn't
tied
give
for
it to him.
fifth.
That's why,
Tied
like,
for
I
fifth.
still
Well, he
understand
missed
you.
too many games. He missed the. He actually can't.
Yeah, he's
win
out.
MVP.
He can't win
Yeah.
MVP.
You have to play
That's why I
65
just think
games, so.
I just think change it to the O, and make it most outstanding player, and throw any single type of bias in you want. Make it playoffs. It doesn't even matter. 'Cause it's that you're outstanding that year. You could just do whatever you want with it. The word valuable makes it much harder to distinguish.
I mean,
My
you want to
personal
talk? You
preference.
want to talk stats? Embiid was putting up 35, 11, and 6.
Incredible
before he went down.
stats.
I mean,
Incredible
he's
stats, but
he's
again,
carrying the Sixers.
I don't trust him. I'm like, okay, those are
Exactly.
I view them as empty stats. Free throw merchant, playoff choker. Every name that they say, it's true. I'm telling you.
I know, but that's such a ridiculous bias.
And also,
That's
you have to look at
insane.
Embiid's stats against teams above 500.
That
who's
is a better
significantly
metric.
worse.
That is a good metric to think of. I will
So-
put that up. If you're talking about
Fair, good
if you're talking about those metrics in this regular season this year only, that's it.
Alright.
I don't want past playoffs. I don't want future playoff potential. Nuh-uh. It had to be happen this year during the regular season.
But do you take
that is a good-
what
that is
about
a good metric.
voter fatigue and something being historical? Like, would you say, oh, I'm not going to give it to this guy because
No,
okay, here's a good example.
Like
Are you
Jokic should have won you last year.
transport-
3-peat or not, who cares?
Transport yourself back to 2011.
All right.
LeBron has Derrick Rose beat in almost every statistical category.
Yeah, he was the most valuable player in that league and to the team.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
Derrick Rose. You don't agree with MVP Derrick Rose being MVP Derrick Rose?
I
the
think
only-
LeBron should have won MVP over Derrick Rose.
LeBron
I think
should've-
The reason why
okay,
he didn't was because
okay.
he was the villain
Yeah.
of the NBA at that point. Everyone hated
No,
him.
no,
I
no.
wouldn't have voted for
If
him at
you
that
took
time.
off, I don't think Derrick Rose's stats were good enough to say that he single-handedly swayed that team.
No,
like, his
he was the
supporting
best player
cast-
on that team, and they were the
Yeah,
best
he was the
team in
best player on
league.
that team, but he averaged
records-wise.
21 points.
No, I think
It was
24.
he also no, it wasn't. I think it was 22.1
No,
actually.
I swear it's 24. I'm
Oh,
pretty
Look
sure.
it up. Derrick Rose, his
Let's look it
MVP
up. Derrick
career stats.
Rose.
I don't think they're as good as you think they are. And also,
I'm saying I'm giving that over to
on that
LeBron
team.
anyway. I think LeBron had better.
Derrick
numbers.
Rose was averaging 25 points, 8
Really,
assists,
that much
and
for MVP when he won MVP?
Yes,
25 and 8?
2011. And 4 rebounds as a scrawny little. How tall was he? He's a tiny guy.
6'1", I think.
6'3".
He also had
Don't put up that many boards.
prime Boozer, prime Joakim Noah, prime Lou Deng.
They were on the come up. That was a young team on the come up.
Horncast was
was.
good.
I mean,
LeBron was also on the Heat.
They had
that
Brian
year.
Scalabrine. The best
Whereas,
LeBron
okay,
was
so
on-
here's the deal.
LeBron was also on the Heat.
So
I don't hate that they gave it to Derrick Rose. I personally would have gave it to LeBron.
here's the thing. LeBron had 26.7, so more points. 7 assists, so he had slightly less assists. 7.5 rebounds. And I think LeBron had him on efficiency too, Pete. 51% from the field. D Rose was shooting
Now that you say the
45%.
stats,
45.
now that you say the stats out loud, I don't think LeBron's stats are big enough to a big enough difference to get to not.
What did the
give it
team
to D-Rose.
finish? What did the team finish?
The Bulls
That's
were
good.
first, the Heat
Bulls
were
finished
second.
62-20.
Bulls were first, Heat were second. I don't think that
That's
LeBron also
the
had
weighing factor, in my
LeBron
opinion.
also had Wade, Bosch, and Ray Allen.
No, he didn't have Ray Allen. But
Yeah, not
For
Ray
2011?
no, Ray Allen
idiot.
came in
Oh,
at 13. But
well,
Yeah.
okay, so you had the big three. I think now that you read those stats, I don't think it's a big enough difference to not give it to D Rose.
There you go.
not me.
Welcome
I
back
think
to
I'm
reality.
giving LeBron that. The worst one ever. You want to go back
Steve
to
Nash's
MVP?
first one or
Steve
second
Nash
There's
won one
Oh
over
my
Kobe.
god, that's abysmal.
Steve
That
Nash
was
averaged like
abysmal.
15 points. Kobe averaged
No,
I think
that's the most
36.
disgusting thing.
He
That's the
averaged
most
like
disgusting thing I've ever
he averaged
seen.
like 15 and 8 as a point guard.
No, it was like 15 and 13. He had like 13 assists. It was.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
he was just
let's
averaging.
fact check that.
He was just averaging
Nash.
With
assists.
Steve Nash on Basketball Reference.
Steve Nash MVP stats.
And then I'm gonna pull up Kobe the same season.
So what year did Steve Nash win?
He won 2005 and 2006. He won back.
The 2004, 2005, or is it 03? He won on Phoenix, right? Is back to back on Phoenix.
Yeah, it was 05 and 06. Those two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The one he did over Kobe.
Look at
is
2006.
actually
Let's look at his
sickening.
2006 numbers.
I got you right here.
Oh yeah, here we go. He had
18
11
points.
He had 15 points.
18
Oh.
points, 10 assists.
10 assists.
Oh, that was the second one.
Kobe
that was-
averaged
and the first one-
35.4 points, 5.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and he finished All NBA first team on defense.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Wait, so Steve Nash only averaged 18, 10, and 4. And then who won MVP the 04-05? I mean,
Steve
who
Nash.
was
He
second?
won 04,
No,
05, and 05.
Yeah, who
06.
was second? Because he only averaged 15.
04,
16
05,
and
I'm
12.
pretty sure
405
Shaq was
is
number
even
2.
worse.
Who?
Oh,
I'm
4 or
pretty sure
5
Shaq-
is even worse.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shaq finished number 2.
Because he averaged 16 and 12. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's good, but it's like I just feel like guys had better numbers.
On a team that finished, what'd they finish?
You know, it's a great thing with Kobe. It's this. Okay, I think the Lakers finished 5th in the West. Look at that supporting cast. He really, I think 06 Kobe was robbed of MVP.
That was the year. That was what, 3 years after Shaq left? Shaq left in 04. 2 years.
I think Kobe was robbed
that
of that. It was
supporting cast was disgusting.
It was bad. You put Kwame Brown, like it was garbage. It was really.
He
really
can't
bad.
play.
He can't play.
Scrub.
Yeah, he's really bad.
Kwame Brown.
Yeah, but that about I think wraps up the NBA. It's good.
Wraps
Good
it up
talk
the
on the
NBA.
MVP, but
Yeah.
you know.
MLB, I think we just rapid fire it out. Not much really going on. It's spring training, couple signings, couple injuries, some more problems with those god awful jerseys.
Hey, some teams got him fixed.
All teams need them fixed.
Yeah.
But,
You can't have your pants being see through.
That's a bit of a problem. The pants are still see through, but I just saw a post that the Royals worked with Fanatics and they got the normal lettering back on the names for the jerseys. They look so much better with that material with the big names.
Yeah, no, we talked about that when we first did. You could change the material, but why do you got to touch the lettering?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Stupid. But biggest thing headline in the MLB right now is if you're a Mets fan, cover your ears and brace for impact. Senga is headed to the IL. Down for 3 weeks. Shoulder strain, missing opening day. Paul, I know you're an emotionless, lifeless Mets fan who no longer feels any sort of joy or pain or anything.
Yeah, honestly, I don't feel anything from this because to me, I have to say, in my probably 17 or 18 years of being a Mets fan, I think this season is like the least excited I have been for Mets baseball ever. Because to me, there's nothing to look forward to. The fact that the team didn't even try to get better. They went after Yamamoto. Great. They didn't go after anybody else.
They're saving their money for Soto in the offseason.
Wow, great. They're not going to get him.
Until the Yankees match that offer.
And like, honestly, yeah, Soto would have been great. They could have traded for Soto. The Mets have a fantastic farm system. They could have made the trade for Soto. It's not like the Yankees gave up that much. You know, it was a good trade. But the Mets could have really, if they were aggressive, they could have got him. Why do the Mets not have any pitchers on their team? It doesn't make any sense. They didn't make any moves. This man, Steve Cohen, promised a World Series by 2025. You got this season, you got one more year, buddy. And then your promise is broken, and then no one's going to take what you say seriously ever again.
Don't worry,
give you
he
this
wants
year,
to build a casino.
Build the team out. Yeah, he's building a casino. Great. Like, we need more gambling addicts in New York. This is genuinely. They didn't. They made no efforts to get better this year and address the needs. This team needed pitching. We didn't get any pitching. We got way worse with pitching.
It's time to hit
bullpen. I don't. Oh yeah, great. We got Edwin Diaz back. Who cares if he's coming in?
Even going to be the same?
If we've already given up 8 runs,
is he even going to be the same? Also,
right?
No.
But also it doesn't matter if he's coming in and he's going to shut down in the 9th, right? He's going to shut everyone down. But we have 8 runs already given up. We've scored 2.
It ain't looking
What's going on?
You looking good, Chief.
It's really not looking good. I'm
looking like Comedy
really
Central
not.
and City Field.
Obviously, Senga getting injured is not, his fault. It's not anybody's fault. But I do think that the Mets need to seriously look at their medical staff, because it's the fact that they get injured, their pitchers, just their players. I understand it's probably like black magic voodoo that the Mets always get injured like this. It has to be. It's the only explanation. Or someone in the medical staff just, doesn't actually have
sabotage.
They have a degree from the University of American Samoa. That's where they got their medical.
University of Phoenix online.
So
that's school.
Honestly, I'm just, I don't feel anything.
Man falls like that. It has a shoulder strain.
Yeah, yeah, you're just telling me, man.
You orchestrated it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dumb.
The Mets were so back until the offseason hit.
There was no reason why the Mets couldn't have had a great offseason. There was a lot of really good players out there. And they had more money than anybody. I understand missing out on Yamamoto. They offered, they matched the Dodgers offer. Why don't they go get those pitchers? Why don't they go get them? There's no
Snell
reason.
And Montgomery.
They went and got Snell and Montgomery. Completely different team. You're looking at maybe 90, 92 wins. Get into the wild card. Get hot at the right time. Not going to happen.
Or you could be the 82-win team that takes down the Dodgers.
Yeah.
As
dude, I'm telling you,
as it sounds, I can see the Mets being that, he got that dog in him team, and then get to the World Series, and then just nothing. Just
the NL, 2015. The wild card from the NL Central will beat the Dodgers in the playoffs. Calling it right now.
We can only hope.
Well, we'll get to that in a few weeks. We have to probably... Pretty soon, we got to make our entire predictions for the MLB for the season. We'll do that, I guess.
That's going to be fun.
Probably
fun take. I was spot on with the Yankees last year. See if I got it in me again this year.
Yeah.
But outside New York, a couple other signings here. Bellinger, my prayers have been answered. Fortunately, he's not in pinstripes, but he finally did ink a deal with the Cubs. 3-year, $80 million. Can opt out after 2. Do you Cubs contenders this year?
I don't know anything about their pitching staff really right now.
They're decent. Pitching staff,
but
not bad.
I don't mind them as contenders for that division.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
They definitely have potential. Getting Bellinger skyrockets them into contenders, obviously. I don't really know. I'll have to look into their whole staff. This pitching is going to be a big issue, but definitely in that NL Central. Especially
last year, they fell apart. They fell apart right at the end of the year. They were like a shoo-in to make the playoffs, and then They dropped like 5 straight games.
It
You
was
remember
bad.
that terrible? They had a terrible injury in center field that ended their season too.
They had
That was
I'm pretty sure they had to win like 7 of their last 9, and they lost 5 straight,
yeah.
1-1, and then lost the rest and just choked it
No,
hugely.
it was a mess.
It
It
was
was a
bad.
mess, but they still did look good regardless of that collapse. I think they could definitely come out winning that division. How far they go in the playoffs? Again, baseball, you get hot at the right time. Anything can happen, but we'll see.
Can't count them out for sure now.
Yeah.
They're in.
Outside of that, Montgomery still floating out in limbo. Boston looks like they're going to jump on him if his
They
price
want
drops a little bit. They do want him.
Why don't the
It's
Mets
no
get him?
secret. Some
Doesn't
teams
make
want him.
sense.
Boston's really
right there.
waiting for Montgomery. I've heard every
Boston's waiting for
reporter,
everyone.
and yeah, but this is the only player where I've seen news where they're like, Boston, if this guy goes down like 10 million, Boston's making the offer. Like, I'm pretty sure they did the same
And
thing that the Yankees did with
Guess
Snell.
what?
They're not gonna
Guess
get him.
what? If the Red Sox sign Montgomery, they still finish last in the AL East.
I think Montgomery goes back to Texas personally.
I hope he does. He deserves a better team than Boston. Boston looks like an embarrassment of a franchise right now.
I want to
Montgomery's
see the
definitely-
Rangers back in the playoffs again. They're so I loved watching.
They were a
them in
fun
the
team.
playoffs last
They
year.
were a fun team.
And I want to see them at full health
East.
with DeGrom.
Yeah.
I'm
that's true.
happy DeGrom got his ring as a Mets fan, but like I want to see him like play and get that ring.
my
It's
guy
not like a real
needs to
ring, Mickey
retire.
Mouse ring.
He's
Who?
so DeGrom. Guy's made of glass. He's
But
made of
Grum
glass.
retire.
He's made of glass.
And
Eat half the contract
he
and
can still
just
do it.
Why
go-
would-
Still go out there and perform.
go-
Let me
Why
ask
is
you
he
a
retired?
question. If you're in his shoes and he's getting paid, how much is he getting paid? Like another
Obviously,
a
if
lot of
I'm
money.
DeGrom-
A lot of money.
Why would you
obviously
retire?
if I'm DeGrom,
Go
I'm
throw a
staying.
baseball around.
But also like, what I don't understand. I didn't understand Texas's signing of him to begin with, and how he was worth that much money to play barely any games.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing.
They
I saw
World
Tommy
Series.
John coming for him.
He won the
They
Cy
won
Young.
a World Series.
He
and
won
you
the Cy
don't
Young
understand their signing of him.
No.
Well, he didn't
Before
play.
pre everything, and he didn't play. So don't get me started.
Come on,
that stuff.
that's not a good argument.
And he didn't play.
Pre-signing
They would have been a
of DeGrom.
shoo-in.
Pre-signing of DeGrom, they gave him like, what was it, 5 years, 175 million. Coming off an injury, he won the Cy Young. He deserved his Cy Young. I'm not arguing that thing, because the Mets suck. Record doesn't matter. He's been hurt. He's been hurt so many times. As a pitcher who wasn't even guaranteed to fully play his first year signing the contract, comes back and then gets hurt almost immediately.
That's why I was.
How do you look at that guy and be like, yeah, let's give him 175 million. Granted,
Because
he got them.
say-
Granted, he
you
got
say-
them 5 wins. 5. That could have made a difference in a playoff route. He didn't play in the playoffs, and he didn't play in the World Series, so he didn't help them win the World Series at all. So
I
now you
understand
can.
that, but
now
Jake,
go ahead.
you say as a pitcher a little too loosely right there, my guy. 1.98 ERA
How many games did he
in
play?
that 28 in the 2018 year.
No. That was a Cy Young year. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
What
he
about
started
every other
32
year?
games.
Okay.
Started 32 games in his back-to-back Cy Young years.
Okay. Give me every game he played after his Cy Young year. When
Every
he got
single
hurt the first
game.
time. Every single. Give me how many
12,
games he played.
15, 11, and 6.
You can't pay a guy 175 million coming off 4 years, not going past. What was the most 16 games?
I personally agree with you
You
because
can't
I
do
wasn't
that.
upset.
Like,
I
that's-
wasn't upset
that's
when the Mets
not-
lost him. I was upset
I'm-
from an emotional perspective. Oh, we lost our hometown guy, but I
You're
wasn't
not
really
getting-
that upset.
you're
that
not
they lost
getting
him.
that-
Wait, whoa.
You're not getting that
The
Cy
first-
Young pitcher.
I forgot to elaborate here. The first year after that with the 12, that was the shortened COVID season. So that was not due to injury.
That's fine.
So after
wasn't
that,
it.
it was 15, 11, and 6.
You can't give a guy that much money who's injury prone to do that. This is a contract. Granted, if you're getting right after Cy Young, yeah, he's worth that money, probably a little more.
He also didn't do that
I'm
great with the
not.
Mets' final season when
I'm,
he
I'm
was
not.
playing.
I
Not
know you got to
arguing
be
that.
concerned about injuries, but if you're going to be the guy that gambles on him, you have to gamble. I mean, the ERAs 1.9, 2.6, 2.2, 1.2, 2.1. If you're going to be the team that's like, we're going to take the chance on you, you're not the only team that's going to take a chance on a guy putting up these numbers.
This
You're
is
going to need to
not.
pay.
Yeah. I just personally, I think it's not the best. It's not the best investment for
You have
that
not
for
seen
that
a
money.
talent like him
He
as a
doesn't
pitcher in the
play.
league.
He doesn't play. He doesn't
No,
play.
I understand your argument there, but I'm
Not,
saying is there's still a market for him for certain teams.
yeah,
And
it's
if you are in that market,
so
you are
dumb to pay him.
still bidding on this talent.
That's it's
That's my
business.
take.
It's dumb to pay him. I'm not. He's a great pitcher.
You
Great.
would not be in the market for teams that
Bring
would
him.
be gambling on him. But
No,
there's even if it's a pool of just 3 or 4 teams, they're all getting in a bidding war.
Look,
it's
I mean,
It's
crazy.
no
They should
secret.
all call each other. They should all call each other and be like, "No, this is the highest. Push it down." I swear, it's the
90% of gamblers
stupidest
quit
thing.
before they hit it big. So
Sure.
Yeah, and so
that's
far, I'm curious to
they
see
hit
how
it
many.
big,
I'm
and they
curious
didn't
to see how
quit.
many. I'm
So they
curious
took
to
a
see how many
gamble. They
games.
didn't quit, and they hit it big.
I'm
So
curious to see how many games he plays this coming up year.
I hope he stays healthy.
I
If
just
they
think he
lose
needs to
games,
slow
I hope
down
he
his
stays healthy
velocity. He
too.
can't be pumping 102 consistently.
I hope he stays healthy too. But if there is an over under for games, I'm putting this at 7, and I'm taking the under absolutely.
it's weird though with pitchers, Paul. You say he needs to slow it down, but that's sometimes where pitchers end up getting hurt. If you start slowing down, things get out of sync, your arm starts falling
Yeah.
behind you, a little too much torque, and snap. Well, outside of the Grom, what even led to the Grom?
The Rangers.
Oh,
Getting
yeah, yeah,
Montgomery.
yeah.
With
Rangers.
Montgomery.
Yeah, Rangers getting Montgomery. Yeah. All right. Still out there for pitchers, though. Blake Snell, Yankees, Angels. Who's going to pay him? Who's not going to pay him? I don't know. Just sign. Spring training's like a week underway. You shouldn't be homeless.
We discussed
Especially,
this
That's
last
all
night.
I gotta say. That's
especially
all I
coming,
gotta say on that.
especially coming after Cy Young.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Just sign, pick a team, show up at someone's camp. This is embarrassing. It doesn't look good for anybody.
No.
Um, Yankees looking at Dylan Cease. I guess if Blake Snell falls through their fingers.
It would have to be a trade though.
Yeah, I know. I don't really know who they'd move if they have the assets to. I kind of like where they're at right now. I think a pitcher definitely would help, which is why I hope they land Snell. But
I think if
I
they
would-
got Bellinger, they would have moved an outfielder and then
Cease.
traded for Cease. But now that Bellinger
Yeah.
fell, I don't think Cease is. I think Cease is looking like a mid-year trade.
I think the Yankees should go after Snell. I think that would be like the missing.
They're the
I think
only team
Yankees-
that gave him an offer.
And I think
I
at
think the
that
Yankees
point,
should be all in on him.
if they get Snell, I really think the Yankees should be the favorite in the AL this year.
I agree.
think they're a
I
very
agree.
good team this year. And I don't think
I
they'll be
agree.
facing the Dodgers in the World Series anyway. So,
And other than that, you got fan favorite of Brandon Crawford finally leaving the Bay Area to sign with St. Louis. It looks wrong, him wearing red, man, but
I saw a sad farewell post.
I did too. It hurt, but every old
He's old.
favorite player just ends up in St. Louis. It seems like.
yeah.
Matt Carpenter signed back with them.
Yep. No, that's just how it goes. Everyone wants to end on the Cardinals for some reason. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact, but unfortunately, he is now leaving San Fran. Back to across the ballpark with the jerseys, as we already kind of alluded to, see-through pants, playing baseballs. That's got to be fixed. Yeah, I know that was a great joke, but that's got to be fixed before the league starts.
I would hope
man.
so.
I would hope so too. If Manfred cares about this at all,
At least
this
change
should
the
be
Maybe
letter.
he
fantastic.
wants to see that. Ever think of that?
Maybe he wants how many years till 2029? 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 years of that.
Yeah.
Never know.
Ooh, baby.
It's his plans to get viewership up.
There you go. And just to kind of recap the first week of spring training, a couple big things going on, something people wanted to see. Otani homers, Soto homers. Looks like baseball's got a script, basically. This happens all the time. Two big guys, two big signings, both homer in their first game. Everyone's excited.
Otani's dad
It's a
caught
good
his
way to
home
kick
run
it
ball.
off. Really? I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just gets everyone excited. Hey, Jake, you got any other notes?
Rodon looking like the pitcher the Yankees signed. Don't get my freaking hopes up. I swear to God.
I'm with you. I don't think Rodon's coming back to what he was on the Giants. I don't think you're ever going to see that again. But I
He's
hope
gotta be a
he
good
bounces
fourth.
back. Yes, I hope he bounces back to be better than what he was last year. For the
Oh,
few
he
games
was
he
awful
played.
last year. And then
They need him.
Eyes on Spencer Jones.
Spencer Jones, the next Aaron Judge. He's 6'7". He's got the arm.
Early to
Spring
make a
training
call like that, but
He went 5 for 7 with 714 batting average. 1 home
early to
run,
make a
4
call
RBI.
on early Judge. But I don't think it's out of
There's
the question.
promise.
Yankees
There's
have
promise.
a great farm system. You got to keep tabs on him. Got to wait for him to show up in an MLB game. That's what it's going
And
to come down
can't
to.
trade him. Yeah.
No, I think
Where
he's
does
a
he play
lock
in the
system.
outfield?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Solid guy to
Yeah.
have out there.
yeah. The Yankees have a lot of good outfielders right now.
They also
and
have
then
Ben
Jason
Rover.
Dominguez.
Do you
Dominguez is coming back.
cash out? Try to get some pitching in there. Trade.
I mean,
I think
they
you
all-
got to
World Series.
evaluate. You got to reevaluate midseason, see
Yeah.
where you're at, where you're looking like.
Yeah.
If you really need it to put you over that edge, maybe you ship one guy out.
they would ship. They would
there's
ship
no secret
Everson
Yankees
Pereira.
going for now.
They would ship Pereira before they ship Spencer Jones. I
What
don't
about
think that.
Dominguez?
No, because I think depending on Stanton's year, you buy him out, and then Dominguez fits right.
hope it doesn't
You bu-
go buy out.
you. No, I
got
hope.
faith
I
in
hope.
Stanton this
I
year.
hope Stanton has a breakout year this year.
I
My
got
thing would
faith in
be.
him this year.
My thing would be re-sign Verdugo, because I think I think he's undervalued as a player,
Oh,
especially
no.
in the Yankees. I think, depending on Stanton's year, you either let him, you buy him out, or you just finish him to his contract. You
Mhm.
absolutely re-sign Soto. You trade Everson Pereira. You reevaluate DJ and Rizzo, and you sign Torres.
The Yankees team's going to look a lot different after this year because a lot of people have contracts up.
I think you have to sign Torres. I think you have to sign Soto,
I'm with you there.
and then you
Rizzo's
have to
kind of old.
you have to reevaluate
You got to
Rizzo
figure out where
and,
you want to put your money.
and LeMahieu.
Yeah, both of them kind of coming to the end, but we'll see. We'll see. Possibly next week, give you guys the predictions for upcoming MLB season.
Yeah, that sounds
Not
good to
too
me.
far out.
Should be
Not too
fun.
far out. Soon enough, we will be in Yankee Stadium
Yep.
singing the YMCA.
All right.
Young
well,
man,
any closing thoughts, or ready to get on
there's
out
no
here?
need to feel down.
Start spreading the news, baby.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. Take care.